welcome back, and today's video is a little different than my other videos. Well, not a little, but a lot. Today, you guys will be hearing 3 unexplained creature sightings stories. And if you guys like it, leave a like. This is my first time ever saying leave a like. But anyways, I'm not trying to ruin your spook factor anymore. So, hope you guys enjoy, and here are 3 allegedly true creature sightings. A creature on Mount Bandai. The incident began when villagers started reporting sightings of a strange creature lurking in wilderness along the fringes of town. This creature was said to look like a large primate of some sort, with a huge mouth, claws, and spiky fur running along its back. It was most often fleeting, glimpsed in the evening or twilight hours, and its eyes were said to glow or reflect like a cat's. The beast was said to stalk around the edges of town and seem to shun light. Villagers described how the thing would sit in pools of shadow just outside of the radius of a light source and glower from the darkness with its flickering, shiny eyes. Despite its menacing appearance, at first the creature was easily frightened and would dart away into the underbrush from sudden light, shouting, or loud noise. But it became increasingly bolder and more frequently spotted as the days went by. The strange monster was not only seen, but also heard. Loud, guttural, and clearly inhuman shrieks and howls were often heard at night, emanating from somewhere on the dark mountain looming above. At times, the eerie nighttime howling would last throughout the night, keeping the villagers awake in the grip of terror. The unnatural shrieks, howls, and sightings of such a sinister creature would have likely been enough to instill fear within such a small and remote rural community. But this was just to be the beginning of the villagers' nightmare. The creature became bolder and more aggressive as the days went by. Where at first it would retreat from noise or light, it started to display more menacing behavior, such as growling at eyewitnesses. Villagers also reported being followed by the thing, which made less and less effort to conceal itself as it stalked them along darkened paths. The village placed guards with torches around the outskirts of town in an effort to drive away the creature, or at least discourage it from coming nearer, but it was not intimidated. The plan did nothing to dissuade it, and perhaps even angered it. Several night watchmen described being rushed from the darkness by the creature and retreating from their positions in terror. At around this time, animals such as pets and livestock were reported to have disappeared without a trace. One farmer was said to have had every single one of his chickens disappear in a single night, with only some scattered feathers left behind. The animal disappearances continued at an increasing rate, and it did not take long for villagers to connect these vanishings with the odd visitor lurking in the woods. It was a realization that was confirmed when a farmer claimed to have spotted the mysterious creature killing a dog in a field. According to the man's account, the thing had already slain the animal and was in the process of disemboweling it when it was spotted, and subsequently dragged its mutilated prey into the trees. People became wary of traveling outside during twilight hours and at night, yet even staying in their homes was no guarantee of peace. The creature was often reported circling homes, and its deep, gruff breathing was frequently heard right outside of dwellings. Occasionally, it would rap, scratch at, or even pound on doors, windows, and walls, almost as if it were testing the structure for ways to enter as the terrified occupants cowered in their homes. It was also not uncommon for people to hear the thumping of its heavy footsteps across their roofs. One particularly harrowing account comes from a family of farmers on the very outskirts of town who had their home actively attacked by the rampaging beast. In this case, the creature was said to have charged the doors full force while roaring in rage, and the doors rattled in their frames, threatening to cave in. The furious monster also was reported as hurling large stones at the dwelling. When it failed to gain entry, the beast slunk back off into the woods, leaving the house badly damaged and the petrified occupants, no doubt, scarred for life. This still would not be the extent of the bizarre occurrences unfolding around the village. As time went on, several children disappeared, and some reportedly taken directly from their own homes. The creature was even purportedly seen kidnapping children and dragging them screaming into the night as helpless villagers looked on in horror. Attacks on adults began to occur as well, and although the creature was not successful in killing any of them, some villagers were bitten, mauled, or at the very least, left badly shaken. One village man described how the creature came so close to him during an attack that he could smell its breath, which was described as smelling of rotten eggs and fish. He was only able to escape after allegedly poking the thing in its eyes. It was at this time that the villagers took more decisive action and hired a well-known hunter to track and kill the beast that was terrorizing them. The hunter bravely trekked out into the surrounding wilderness in an effort to both kill the thing and draw it away from the village. During the hunt, the hunter described how the creature stalked him and circled his camp menacingly on several occasions. After a few days of tracking the creature, the hunter allegedly finally managed to shoot and kill it in 1782 after it tried to rush from the forest and attack him. It was reported to be so fierce that the bullet did not bring it down, and that hunter had to resort to repeatedly stabbing the thrashing beast with a knife to kill it. The carcass was reportedly a somewhat ape-like creature that was 1.5 meters tall, covered in hair, and with a large mouth filled with fangs that was so oversized that it was described as being as if the head was split from ear to ear. Along its back were spines reminiscent of those of porcupine. The creature also had a long, sharp nose and short limbs, with webbed hands that ended in wicked claws. The carcass was reported to give off an extremely rank, overpowering odor, which was unfortunately led to the body being discarded not long after. With the death of this baffling monster, the sightings, attacks, kidnappings, and animal disappearances all ceased. So, what was it? Story 2. Dintan. Here's a story from when I was a kid. Not that scary, but it at least gave me some creeps as a kid. Be me, 4 or 5 years old. Grow up on the countryside, maybe 5 or 6 houses in the area, a small town 3 to 4 kilometers away. Out playing with my wooden sword in a field near my house. See something/someone moving around in a ditch. Being a naive kid, I walk up to him/it. He's big and he's covered in black fur, and he kinda looks like Sully from Monsters, Inc. But this was way before the movie came out. I try to talk to him, but he just growls at me. He reaches out and takes my sword from me. Then he bolts and runs away along the ditch, crying like a little bitch.jpg. Later that night, sitting at dinner table with Dad, he asked me what I've done today. I tell him that I made a new friend. Well, isn't that fun? What's his name? I don't know. He hasn't told me. Fast forward a couple of days. Keep seeing him almost everywhere I go, as long as it's close to a ditch. He never walks anywhere but in ditches. Muster up courage to ask him what his name is. He tells me that I can call him Dintan. He tells me that he hates children and that he doesn't want to talk to me. I don't remember much of this, but my dad told me about how I always talked about Dintan with him. According to 4 to 6-year-old me, he was mean and angry all the time. I was scared of him, but also felt sorry for him. And he has also told me about the stories that I told him back when I was a little kid. Be at daycare. 5-ish years old. All the kids ask each other if they believe in Santa, the Tooth Fairy, Jesus, etc. Tell them I don't believe in any of them. But I believe in Dintan, I said. I started telling the other kids about Dintan. Some of them started to cry. The kindergarten lady calls my parents to tell them that I, quote-unquote, intentionally scare the other children. Be almost 6. Walk with best friends to the kiosk in town. We buy 1 ice cream each and some candy. Then we walk home. They decide to stay in town at a friend's house. I don't know him, so I decide to walk home alone. Eventually, I pass a small playground next to where I live. See Dintan in a ditch by the side of the road. He jumps out and throws my ice cream on the ground and laughs. Cue the waterworks gif. I ask him why he did it. He told me that he likes to make children cry. He then took the ice cream stick from the ice cream and said that it was his keepsake. Be 6 or 7. Tell my mom that we must start putting coffee beans on the front stairs. She asked me why. I say that Dintan loves coffee, and that he has told me that he often sneaks into our kitchen when everyone is asleep to eat our coffee beans. Mom and Dad are obviously concerned and start locking the front door. They say that I can't talk to Dintan anymore, and that I should ignore him if I saw him again. Fast forward maybe 3 months. I'm driving to the city to visit my uncle. I point to an old stone bridge and exclaim, "Mom, that's Dintan's house." My mom thought it would be fun if we explored the bridge, since none of us had been there before. Walked down the small road to the bridge, and then we walked under the bridge. There I found 20 plus ice cream sticks. My mom was a little superstitious and wanted us to return to the car as quick as possible. When I was 7, my family moved to Portugal for 7 months. Forget entirely about Dintan and never talk about him to anyone. We had planned on living there for 1 or more years, but my grandma was diagnosed with cancer, so we moved back. Walked through the woods, down a small trail that led to my grandma's house. See Dintan a couple of meters down the trail. He's really skinny now. He looks like a doot covered with fur, like a stray dog. Tell him that if he's going to be mean, he can go away. He looks sad, then angry, and then he just goes away. See him a few more times after that day. Not afraid of him anymore. He's not the big, scary monster from my childhood. He looks weak and sick. Dintan told me that since our house had stood empty, he hadn't eaten for 7 months. He also told me that he missed me. I told him to go away. I was busy being sad for my grandmother. Never saw him again after that day. I'll always regret it, even if I had hated him. I think I was his only friend. Weird stories. Snowman. B-15. Just got my first personal .22 rifle, all mine and super proud. It has a little bolt thing, super accurate, and I loved it. Have a family friend who owns property like 10-minute drive from our house. On this property is an old house, built by homesteaders around 100 years ago, falling apart. Right next to it is a creek and a field. We used to camp on the far side of the field all the time. Also would shoot using creek as a berm. One day, I decided I want to go camping. Bike out there with my .22 and a box of ammo and normal camping kit. Super excited. Shoot like 200 rounds at cans and shit from the trash roll nearby. In the 60s, someone lived on the property in a trailer and threw trash in this sinkhole type thing. Started getting dark, built a fire, and busted out the harmonica to practice. I was terrible at it, but it kept my mind busy while I relaxed. Suddenly, something isn't right. I feel like I'm being watched. Hair on neck is raised, heart elevated. My mind starts racing, imagining things unseen out there. Clutching the rifle and flashlight, scanning the field and trees for movement. Shadows playing tricks on my mind, and I'm shitting bricks. Moonless night. God damn it, I want to go home now. Wish I'd brought a tent to at least hide inside. It was summer in Texas and was too hot, but I wanted that security now. Started building a bigger fire. Made a torch of sorts with a stick and a torn up t-shirt I'd brought along with thoughts of making some sort of camouflage for my rifle. Darkness is giving up no secrets, but I can definitely hear something out there walking around. Didn't want to shoot because sometimes cows wander onto the property. Fuck. I never wanted this .jpg. Maybe coyotes, they're common out here. But no, not in this particular area. Too many farmers and rednecks hunt them. They avoid it. Jesus Christ, I think I hear breathing. It's kind of circling me, getting closer. I'm pissing my pants by this point, wishing I had something big bore. This was before cell phones were inexpensive. I didn't have one. Just told my parents I was going camping and where. Great, so they'll just have to find my grisly remnants tomorrow morning after I don't come home. Sweating buckets and running out of wood. Fire dying. Contemplating running for it, but the woodsman in me wouldn't leave the fire. It was true dry out there. Then, suddenly, I hear a deep, echoing bark from kind of far off. The thing circling me stopped for a second. A long pause, and then another bark. Closer, and the thing takes off in the direction away from me and the bark. An enormous, white, fluffy dog comes trotting out of the tree line. Super friendly, and has a collar on it that says Snowman. Snowman and I chill out for a couple of hours. Only once he turns his head, perks his ears, and growls, half barks, and then goes back to normal. Feel totally safe with Snowman there. Eventually fall asleep with the big lug next to me, hot as hell, but who gives a fuck. Next morning, Snowman is gone. Figure he went home after the thing buggered off for good. Go home and scrape the brick dust out of my boxers. Next day, talking to property owner, tell him of that night, confirms no cows were out there, mentions Snowman. He looks at me like I'm an asshole. Snowman was my dog. He was killed by a car last year. I what hard and tell him I was serious. Snowman was real. I petted him and got covered in his fur and just everything, and he saved my skin from whatever out there wanted my nutsack for a coin purse. He doesn't believe me until I dig the shit out of the wash and show him the hairs all over it. He says it looks just like Snowman's. Every now and then I hear it bark off in the distance whilst camping there and feel warm inside. Well guys, this video was a little different of what I normally do, but I hope you all enjoyed. Sorry for the audio quality issues. I started recording this back in fall, and now I have a new computer so it doesn't make as much noise. And I really will try to post more videos now. More of these and more gaming videos. Probably try to do more live streams. Because I've been too lazy recently. And I should really start getting into the swing of things, especially since, it's quarantine currently, and give you guys some videos to watch while you're all in your house. So, thank my pack for watching, and I hope you all have a wonderful day, or night, depending on when you watched this.